Namaskar. The topic of today's video is pluralist theory of state. There are various theories associated with state like divine origin theory, social contract theory, historical or evolutionary theory, Marxist theory, pluralist theory, etc. So today in this video we'll try to explain pluralist theory of state. So stay tuned with us.
Hello students, I'm Dr. Joshi and today in this lecture I'll try to analyze UPSC Mains PSIR 2019 paper. The question which I'll discuss today is the pluralistic theory of the state. The question asked was of 10 marks and word limit approximately 150 words. But before I analyze this question, I would like to discuss with students how to approach any question on political theory in the exam. So whenever a question comes up on political theory, the first thing which students should write is the backdrop of the asked theory. Now what does the backdrop means? Backdrop means whether this concerned theory is an extension of some existing theory or has it tried to denounce some existing theory. The second aspect of the question should include the reasons for the rise of the theory. The third aspect should include the main characteristics of the theory. The fourth aspect should be the critical appraisal, and then one should conclude the answer. Now coming to our question, that is pluralistic theory of the state. Ideally, the answer should start by giving a brief introduction or the backdrop of the theory. So you should write that pluralistic theory is a systematic attack on the doctrine of classical state sovereignty, that is monistic theory, which seeks to locate sovereignty at one place. Actually, monistic theory of the state was given by John Austin, who argues that sovereignty lies on a determinate body or a body of a person, and that determinate authority is a source of all positive laws. The second point which one should write in this answer is the reasons for the rise of pluralistic theory. Now keeping into mind the word limit, it should be maneuvered in your own way. However, there are three basic reasons for the rise of pluralistic theory. The first is the conditions created by First World War. Now we all know that First World War required citizens to sacrifice themselves entirely for the sake of the state. So you see, contentious objectors raised question on the entitlement of the state to make such enormous demands. Second reason was the conditions after Second World War. Now, the conditions after Second World War further prompted people to revisit the classical monistic theory of the state. There also arose the need for a set of international laws for creating peaceful international order and also for protecting human rights. At the same time, there also arose need for emergence of supranational institutions, for example, UN. The third important reason for the rise of pluralistic theory was new development within social sciences, especially psychology and sociology, who exploded the myth of the personality of the state. So all these factors made modern thinkers realize that state is not an all-comprehensive institution. Now the third important aspect of this answer should be the main characteristics of pluralistic theory of the state. Now the first important characteristic is that pluralistic theory of the state recognizes that there are many associations, for example, family, church, etc., who have their existence prior to the origin of the state, and they are equally important for the well-being of the human being. Second important characteristics of pluralistic theory is that pluralistic theory considers state as a coordinator. According to them, state does not exist above any other association. Rather, in words of Ernest Barker, state is an association of association. Still, it is unique in its sense because it could be seen as a service state in terms of MacIver or as an equilibrium setter in terms of Lasky. Now, if I talk about equilibrium setter means entity which tries to harmonize the interest of groups as well as individual. The third important characteristic of pluralistic theory is that this theory seeks to limit the absolute authority of the state. Now, in this regard, you can quote Lasky saying that state sovereignty is limited both in external as well as in internal sphere. In external sphere, the real unit of allegiance is the world, And in internal sphere, state sovereignty is restricted by customs and traditions. You can also quote Lindsay in this regard, saying that the monopoly of the state in the lawmaking should be broken. The fourth important characteristics of the state is that pluralistic theory argues about decentralization of the authority. In this regard, you can quote a very important quotation of Lasky, which is often been asked also, that because society is federal, authority should also be federal. Actually, decentralization of authority also means that pluralistic theory does not accept state as a leviathan or an all-powerful entity and rejects the monopoly of the state. Now, once we have discussed the main tenets, you can completely come up to the critical appraisal of the theory, keeping into mind the word limit. The first criticism of this theory is that pluralistic theory could be argued that the logical conclusion of the theory of pluralism could be anarchism. The second important criticism is that it could give rise to ascendancy of dominant groups over vulnerable groups, and this of course calls for a stronger base for state sovereignty. The third important criticism could be that in order to avoid social conflict, which is of course evitable, a unified power should be given to the state. The fourth important criticism is that state do perform some of the unique functions, for example defense, for example financial functions, and therefore it cannot be treated just like any other associations, and of course it should be recognized as higher than other association. In the conclusion, you can always say that however a pluralistic order is anyway more desirable for ensuring democracy and liberty of people, and also for ensuring international peace and order. Thanks a lot.
Thanks for watching our video.
If you want us to keep making such informative videos, please like, share and subscribe our channel.
Aaradhya, the gateway of knowledge.
Till then, goodbye, take care and stay safe.